Happy New Year and welcome to the first episode of 2021. This is the Hope and Mum and Dad podcast, episode 25. I'm Becky and this is Fuzz, and we're here to talk to you all about our IVF experience, or wait so far, and infertility.
Yeah, so it's we're trying to be a bit more on top of things and a bit more regular with the schedule. Becky's hopefully done most of the work for her diploma, which was the reason why we were not really getting things out on the schedule that we hoped for last year. So, but hopefully this new year we will be able to get things done.
Yeah,
like we did originally.
Yeah, have regular guests for you and just hopefully push out a bit more information about fertility and raising awareness of who it affects and how it affects people and the different issues that go on. So we don't have a guest for you this week, but we just thought we'd continue with our update because Monday I phoned the clinic and we spoke
we're going to aim to just check in and do weekly episodes whether we've got a guest or not, really. So it's not really like a special thing that we're doing one without a guest, because there'll probably be quite a few that we do without a guest, but this is this week and we're just here. So news on Monday.
So I phoned the clinic Monday and just said, oh hey, it's 2021 January, and that means that we've been waiting like 15 months since our actual IVF referral to you. Obviously we've been trying to conceive for longer than that, coming up to 3.5, nearly 4 years now.
Bit of context for people that might be joining us at this point and have not listened before. In a super quick way, we been trying to start a family for a while. Things weren't happening after a year or two. Went to the doctor, got referred for tests. So all of this was done like 2, maybe 3 years ago, right?
Yeah. 3.5 years ago.
What, from the GP referral?
Yeah, we probably didn't get tests. Maybe, you're right, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. So we were meant to have our IVF appointment in March.
Yeah, 2020. March 2020.
That didn't happen because COVID went nuts. And I've been pretty vocal about it. I'll say it again. It was annoying because our government didn't do anything at all to shut it down. Like other countries across the world have done a much better job.
Yeah.
And then, so everything got shut down, redeployed, and that was, understandable. I get, it is understandable. We get it. And then, here we are again, like on the third wave or the second wave or the whatever, and things are not getting any better, really.
We're in the third official lockdown, I think.
We've lost family members to it. Other people we know. Most people I speak to at the moment have got a story where they know someone that's either in their family that have died from it, or from other, or someone they know has got a story about it too. And the thing is as well, it gets really upsetting for us as people waiting for our IVF treatment. Our IVF treatment was cancelled because the numbers were surging out of control and the NHS had to redeploy and stuff. And we're just a bit worried that it's going to happen again because it's January, and it's a serious thing. And there's people like going around saying, oh, it's just the flu and the NHS gets... And they're absolute idiots. Like, they have no idea what they're talking about. It's a pandemic that's affecting thousands of people. We've got one of the highest death rates in Europe, and people are going around with blasé statements like, oh, well, the NHS is bad every year, and oh, it's just like the flu, and oh, it's 2%. It's not. They're all things people say to enable them to act selfishly. And the thing is as well, like the coronavirus not only like fills up with people that are actually dying from it, but when these hospitals fill up with people full of COVID patients, it stops other things getting treated as well. Like cancer surgeries have been urgent life-saving cancer operations have been cancelled.
Organ transplants,
they've actually been cancelled in London and other parts. So these people that are going around saying, oh, the NHS is bad every year and oh, it's just the flu, just borderline evil. Like either selfish, ignorant, both, or just either way, it's not on. And it's like, obviously we're upset about our IVF being cancelled, but at least we're, touch wood, not going to die because we can't access treatment. obviously it's shit and we want to start a family because we've been trying for years, but there are people out there that are losing their lives or will lose their life because people are going around without masks and belittling all the scientists who have dedicated their whole lives to like public health and stuff like that. But matey up the road who sells insulation has decided that what he's going to do and breaking all the rules and regulations is completely fine because, well, I don't even know how they can justify it.
That's not a real thing, by the way.
What?
Matey up the road. You're not. You're talking.
I'm
about
not talking about anyone. I'm just anyone. You know,
random person.
Pick a random name. Barbara, the Tyler. I don't know, just whatever. Like just.
So in March 2020, when COVID first happened, for like Fuzz says, for anyone who's joining us now for the first time, there was a nationwide closure of clinics across the board. The Human Fertilization Embryo Authority, I think that's what they stand for.
Some sort of watchdog that regulates the quality of treatment. Yeah,
they basically said it's not safe for treatment to be carried out and that the clinics had to close, and then they started to reopen in May, but then obviously because of all the delays and everything that happened, we were just bumped right to the back of the list, and they had to prioritize, of course, people who needed their fertility preserving or older patients who didn't have much time
ill
left.
Patients.
Needing your fertility preserving. But finally, it's been 15 months and it means that they're likely to prioritise us. So I phoned them Monday and they said, you should get a call by the end of the month.
I'm surprised that they're even open because if you...
Well, don't jinx it.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm just being honest. I'm just saying that, like, judging by the record-breaking numbers of...
Well, I said on Instagram the other day, like, I feel loads of mixed feelings at the moment because I know what you're saying. I completely agree with what you're saying, actually. At any second, they could just close the clinic. And that might not just because of national closures. It could just be because they don't have the right staffing levels because...
or most of the staff are, like, isolating
or ill.
Sick,
yeah, or redeployed. It could be anything. But fingers crossed, we just have to kind of be positive and hope that we're going to...
Yeah, it just gets really hard to, like... when you see people that are actively spreading misinformation online and saying and doing things and encouraging actions that go against, us having treatment.
Yeah.
And people are dying.
Yeah.
And like it's been going on for months, and there's been documentaries made about the amount of misinformation floating around on online and stuff. But I'm just getting fed up now. I'm literally at the end of my tether with just idiots that don't have a clue what they're talking about. They probably didn't even get a GCSE in like science, yet they're like, criticizing world leading epidemiologists and public health policy experts. And it's like, at some point, you've got to accept that you don't know what you're talking about and let people who do make those tough decisions and just follow the rules, because it seems like people don't care unless it affects. I even know people who do this stuff.
You're passionate about this.
I'm not passionate. I mean,
you are.
No, but you think it's like a sin to be annoyed at like on camera, but it's not cool. Like people are dying, and we might have to wait another year, another 2 years, or 3. Well, who knows? Like because people are going, oh, Karen up the road said that wearing a mask actually doesn't help, so I'm not going to wear a mask, and it's my right. And quoting the Magna Carta, going to Morrison's without a mask on, you're like, you absolute idiot, like, what are you doing? But imagine that. Imagine if we couldn't have kids for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it would suck.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm pretty measured and not that angry, considering how angry I could be.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, today is Thursday, and when I've called the clinic in previous times, because I'm that kind of pestery little nag. Yeah, so I might ring again tomorrow if they don't ring us. Fingers crossed they do, touch wood. Yeah, and then I guess I don't know how things really are rolling at the clinic right now. I think they are doing...
I'm surprised they're open.
They're doing video consultations, and I think we have to have COVID tests, and then treatment can begin. But I don't think there's the same kind of... that they obviously support you, but I don't think there's the same kind of support in preparing for your first IVF cycle, because I don't think you can have as much contact. I'm not really sure how we're going to learn how to inject ourselves and stuff. That's something I'm
Can't be that
becoming
hard, can it?
a bit
I'm not being funny,
apprehensive
but
about.
you just stick a needle in and press it, like.
I don't know. They normally like
It's,
give you a
and
bit
it's
of
not
training for it.
intravenous as well. It's like into your muscle.
Yeah.
So,
Still.
I mean,
Yeah, you
I
can
think
be
you can.
blasé about it because you don't have to do it.
I'll do it myself as well if you want. We can both do it.
To me.
A little experiment.
You'd love to do it to me, to just
No,
be
I
like,
wouldn't.
like a little voodoo doll sticking needles in me.
No.
Take that.
No.
Yeah, so that is where we are with our treatment. Obviously, we're really pissed off.
Another angle on it as well is that Becky's a teacher, and we won't go. Well, basically, Becky's a teacher. The schools have shut now temporarily in Wales until the 18th. Mm-hmm. But sage scientists and epidemiologists, public health, what do they call the public health? Health.
Sage.
No. Health. There's people in medical officers, chief medical officers for England, Scotland, Wales have been screaming at the government for months, saying the current measures aren't controlling the virus. Schools are a, quote, vector for the disease. And it's been if you're watching from overseas or America or stuff like that, obviously your schools have been shut for the duration.
Have they? The American schools haven't gone back?
Yeah. Pretty sure that's the case in most of the country. But yeah, in our country, all the experts, the people that we put in charge to make these decisions and make public health choices have told the politicians and they've just ignored it. And then Boris Johnson said on Sunday, schools are safe. All the kids went into school on Monday in England because Wales is a slightly different timetable. All the kids went in on Monday, even though everyone was saying it's not a good idea. And teaching unions said staff shouldn't go in because it's not safe. Monday night, it's not safe to send kids into school. They're vectors for the disease. And so luckily Wales and Scotland are ahead of that. Annoyingly, Wales have said that they're only they've got a date of the 18th so far, right?
Yeah.
And they haven't gone further than
Hopefully
that.
they're going to review that before the end of the week.
England have said that schools are going to be closed until about March time probably.
They said definitely February, but maybe March, yeah.
But that affects us because Becky is planning on being pregnant if everything goes to plan, but means she can't have a vaccine. So if we do get pregnant, we've got to basically act like you're vulnerable.
They kind of advise that you shouldn't have the vaccine if you're going to get pregnant in the next 3 months.
It's annoying that we don't have exact time scales, because if that was the case, but even then you wouldn't be able to get the vaccine because there's not enough of it.
So far it's working out okay. Like if they call us soon, because I'm working from home, like I was a bit worried about the way it was before Christmas. We were obviously working in schools and COVID hadn't gone away. So even though it wasn't as bad as it was now,
it probably was though, because they've only just they that new variant that's pushing the numbers up. That's been around for a while.
I was a bit worried about catching it and having to have COVID tests to continue treatment and stuff. So that was like at the back of my mind.
Who do we know that had a COVID test? And we know someone that was going through treatment. Maybe they just did a round and then they tested positive.
Yeah. So someone local to us in Wales who I speak to on Instagram, and she was tested positive, and I don't think she'd started treatment at that point. But for a while it stayed in her system for about 3 months or something, and then eventually it came out and she could continue. But we don't want to delay it any further than we have to, so that was kind of a bit of a worry. So working from home at the moment isn't advantage, because if they do call us tomorrow and we get to start treatment in January, then
you've got to take a test.
There's one less thing to think about.
There's 20% people are asymptomatic. So we could have it now, and we could go in for
it. I think we're the minority, because me and Fuzz, we live together on our own in our house here in Wales, and we know that we've been expecting a call for treatment.
Still have to go shopping and pick up
apart
food
from
and
work. We haven't really socialized with people. We have within what we're allowed to do. In the summer, we would go for walks with people or have a friend in the garden, but
not even to the maximum we were allowed to.
We haven't had even family members in our house through all of this. So
there's things that you're allowed to do, but basically the way that the rules seem to work is they've gone right. you can do this, but please don't, like,
Yeah.
the less you can
At
do,
the
the better.
moment, you're not allowed to meet anyone outside of your household, unless you're at work. So yeah, that is a bit of an advantage, which is good. So we'll just see what happens. Fingers crossed they'll call us tomorrow and we'll get to start in January. And
It's pretty nerve-wracking because there's so many things that could go wrong. And to be honest,
Yeah.
like, I'm surprised that the clinic's open, and they are.
yeah.
Like, amazingly, because there's over 50,000 cases every day for the last 7 days, with the highest ever record, the highest ever death rate and new cases yesterday.
Another thing that's at the back of my mind as well, because obviously we're getting close, is that I have a feeling that when we had our tests, they said that my test result was quite high, which means that I've got a high
like
ovarian
growth
egg
hormone.
reserve. No, it's to do with your egg reserve, basically. And usually if you have an high AMH, then you're at risk of developing OHSSS, which is like
They release too many eggs in one go.
No, they overstimulate your ovaries, so your ovaries become too swollen and big, and obviously there's not enough space for them, and I think they can burst, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure, but
Well,
it can be bad if it's not managed well.
It's not
So
going to stop
usually-
you from doing the treatment, is it?
Usually, if they know you're at risk, they might do a freeze-all cycle. So they'll go through the treatment, collect all your eggs, and then they'll freeze the eggs.
Don't
And
you do that
then-
anyway?
No, they don't do that. Normally they transfer a fresh one. So I'm hoping that we don't have a freeze-all cycle, because that would delay us even further. I would like to try and have a fresh transfer straight away, so that we can just
Have a
go
go.
through the treatment, have a go, see if it works. And then if it doesn't work, then we can do a frozen one, hopefully, if we've got any to freeze.
Yeah.
But
But yeah,
We'll
at the
see.
moment it's nerve-wracking because it feels like it's a miracle that things are even kind of potentially going ahead as they are. And it's just, and with Becky being a teacher, and with the pressure from parents that I'm seeing at the moment, like, who are like pushing to keep schools open, it's just so unfortunate at the moment that, like,
I haven't noticed that in my experience, but you've noticed it
well,
in your friendship groups online.
Yeah, maybe I'm noticing a few things and it seems like it's more of a thing than it is. But there's definitely people out there that are saying, you know.
I know Kirsty Allsop tweeted recently this week saying something like, don't forget that trampolining and riding in a car with someone and this, that and the other is more dangerous and poses more of a risk to your children than COVID, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
And then there's this famous children's author called Michael Rosen, and he replied to her tweet, and he was like, oh yeah, I forgot that when you go into a school there's no adults there, and children teach themselves, and the floors clean themselves, and the food cooks itself, and children learn by themselves. They teach themselves to learn. There's not a risk to anyone else apart from the children in schools.
But not only that, the kids give it to each other and then they bring it home to their parents.
But he
and their
got
family
like
members.
6,000 likes plus on his reply, and like loads of reshares. So there are people who understand like the actual threat to the community.
Yeah,
that
it affects
schools
everyone.
pose.
But there are people that can't go to work. Right, so basically you get, like, the general kind of outlay of this is if you're poorer, you're going to be affected by COVID worse. Not just by the disease itself, but like by the outcomes from the economy,
lack of income and stuff.
all of it. So like it gets really frustrating when you see like middle income parents that can work from home, so they're not going to lose money. They can work from home because they're in those like officey jobs that you can do from anywhere.
Yeah.
And they're going, and they say things like, maybe you should, people that are calling for a blanket closure of schools, it's not that simple. And they're basically saying, fuck off, I'm annoyed and I want the kids to go to school.
Yeah.
That's
You
what you're
just
saying.
think
Anything
everyone
that's not supporting it is
Yeah.
not helping.
Yeah.
So I've a couple of times I've said, can you spare a thought for the teachers and school staff whose lives are being put at risk? And also, you harp on about like being stressed out and stuff like that, but you can work from home. And the more that you desperately offload your kids into schools and they spread it to each other and it makes it worse, the virus grows, the economy has to stay locked down, and the people from poorer incomes and the people with jobs that are like, I don't know, like that work in Greggs and service industry, like lower income people like that, they can't go to work. They don't get paid. So everyone loses. And the people that I see complaining are the ones with the least negative effect on them.
Yeah.
Basically, it affects all of us. Teachers, school staff, kids, workers, everyone. And the more that the schools are open and people and the kids are all mixing in schools, the bigger the virus gets, and everyone suffers.
That's what people need to understand, that it's about the bigger picture and how the schools affect the entire community that surrounds it because of the transmission.
I just want to smash my head into this desk when people say, yeah, but it doesn't affect kids, it's not bad. And you're like, yeah, but you get affected too.
Yeah.
Oh, what about kids' mental health? Well, what about kids' mental health when they lose a parent?
Yeah,
like,
it's bad.
It's just, we live in a Black Mirror episode where everyone's an expert, no one pays attention to scientists, and everyone, it's gross how fast people, people that are generally like pretty ethical, full of morals, full of good morals, this pandemic has shown us just how much, if you just apply that pressure constantly for months, people very quickly start, turning on, just making selfish choices and then relying on each other to back them up. Like, you just have like Facebook posts with one person saying it's fine for kids, but
this is the hard thing about social media. It sends everything out of context, really, doesn't it?
At least I'd have more respect for people if they just went, I'm stressed out, I don't like having the kids at home, keep the schools open. Just be honest.
And the problem is as well, when you're behind a device or the internet or whatever, people just feel a bit liberated. Maybe that's the wrong word, but kind of they feel like they've got freedom of speech more so than normal. Anonymity, like they're anonymous.
Yeah. I would love to sit down and talk to people face
There's no like
face
social etiquette there anymore, and people just say silly things, and often it's like a really heated reaction, and it's like a rash decision that they're making, and it's not like a measured response that you normally do if you were face to face with someone or in a room with someone.
But it's weird how it's turning people that you would think that are decent people and they've got good morals and ethics and stuff, and it's just pushed people that far.
It's a hard time for everyone, regardless of whether you're going through IVF treatment or not. Like, whatever, it doesn't matter if you've got no adversity at all. Like, this 2020, and it looks like the start of 2021, has just been such a hard time for everyone, like, on so many levels.
Yeah, but we need to pull together, hunker down, and do what we got to do together, and stop being so selfish.
I like that mental image, hunker down.
It's
like with a load of hunks in the room.
No, we need to just get through this together. Like, if us waiting another 6 months was needed to happen for our IVF treatment to enable the bigger picture to work, I'd go, yeah, no problem, I get it, I'm happy to do our bit or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, my whole year's just been cancelled. I'm a wedding photographer.
Yeah. It's not cool.
It's, but I don't care. We just got to do what we got to do.
The one thing you've been able to keep doing, as lots of listeners who have been listening from the beginning will know, is that Fuzz has been able to carry on training for his Ironman. Not as much as he normally would, but he is like a fitness guru, and he's been out on his bike loads and running. And
I'm still learning. There's loads of stuff I didn't...
Yeah, you haven't been able to swim for a long time.
So no, I have tried to swim in the sea, doing open water swimming. But
in the new year,
it
that
is
was cold.
Just so cold. It's
so you should go and check out his videos.
I've been trying to, just to get used to the water temperature and stuff, and it's just hard work. But
I don't envy you. It's so cold outside. It's hard enough to get me to go for a walk with the dog and not take clothes off. Never mind. Walk to the beach.
You've been running though, because fertility wise, fitness is a big important thing.
Yeah, it is. And
Sandy,
our friend Sandy Christiansen.
That's it. Yeah. She talked about the benefits of her fitness.
Yeah, she talked about the benefits of fitness. She did.
You can listen to that episode if you want to dig back through the previous episode. That was an interesting one.
She's a former embryologist and is now a fertility coach. So go and check her out.
Actual scientist.
Yeah, she's
who knows what she's talking about.
A cool cat, and also in a previous kind of seminar that I listened to about egg quality, they said that even if you lose like 0.5 kilogram of weight before treatment, then it improves your success rate. So hopefully I'll shift a bit more than 0.5 kilogram.
But
But,
also
yeah.
don't.
I just
go
want to
nuts.
do it to feel a bit better about my energy levels, because I wake up tired and
We did
like
a bit
I
of a
have
test,
thyroid
didn't we?
issues, which is what delayed us as well with all our
We did
waiting and that.
We did a bit of a test to see kind of where Becky's fitness is
Yeah.
at, and I pretty good, pretty it's pretty understandable for someone that hasn't done anything for such a long time.
I
So-
think you don't realise how little that lots of people exercise.
Yeah, but we don't care about lots of people.
No, but
We
I'm
don't care
proud
about
of
lots
myself.
of people. You should be. That's what I'm saying. But we should stop no one should gauge themselves against other people. Because
Yeah,
the only
comparing is
important
not
thing
good.
is yourself. So
Yeah.
we did a bit of a fitness test to see where you were. And you did all right. It wasn't like amazing, but that's good because that means you can only get better.
I think we did a distance of about 5k, but with like a bit of walking in between the first time.
So this is something I wanted to talk about.
We ran together.
This
that
is something
time,
I
didn't
want to talk about with people fitness wise. If you think about getting fit and stuff like that, one thing that people seem to do is they don't really know what they're doing fitness wise, and I'm guilty of that when I started too. But so people will aim to run and they'll just run, and that's it. And there's a bit more to think about fitness wise than running. One of the main things that everyone can do pretty cheaply, and it's a good way to get into it and ease into it, is something called is basically heart rate training. So if you've got like a smart, a lot of people have got iPhones, iWatches, Apple Watches,
Smartwatches.
little Garmin's, little Fitbits. They're quite affordable now, or you can even get like a little heart rate monitor. Obviously check with your doctor if you can do all this exercise. If you've got something wrong and you shouldn't be exercising, then don't. But if you are fit and healthy and you want to start exercising again, and it's safe to do so, obviously I just don't want to tell people to. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but if you are running and doing fitness stuff, then make sure that you're okay and fit and healthy to do so. But then when you start running, don't just run flat out and whatever. Just try and monitor your heart rate, and most apps will tell you what heart rate zone you're in, and maybe have a little look into that, because I've personally looked at zone 2 training, which is keeping your heart rate quite low, but it builds up your strength, builds up your endurance and your the biology behind it. Basically, you build up mitochondria, which is like part of your oxygen delivery system, and it basically means you can carry on for a longer time. But long story short, research zone 2 training. Don't just run flat out. Only run if you're safe and healthy to do
and
so.
stretch.
And highly recommend stretching. Get a little foam roller. Work on your hips and your glutes and stuff like that, because that's what stops people running. They go for a run, they stop, and that's it. So try and factor in like a 10-minute walk. Try and go for a walk at the beginning to warm into it. And then at the end, don't just stop completely. Go for like a little 10-minute walk afterwards. Then stretch. You can find loads of stretches. You can
Stretch before you walk too.
yeah. Don't go nuts. There's loads of everyone's got the internet. You can go on YouTube and type in stretches. But if you can, on Amazon or wherever you shop online or ever, get a little foam roller. They are amazing. They're only like a £5, and it'll keep you flexible and fit and good. And then you can run the next day. Then most people don't think about the recovery aspect. Running's really hard on your body, especially if you haven't done it much.
And your joints, yeah.
Exactly. So it's really important. And again, I'm not telling you to go running or do anything. You obviously got to, if you're not running and you're kind of unsure about exercising, check with your doctor. Make sure you're safe and healthy to do so. Don't just go chucking yourself into something if it's going to hurt you. So it's up to you to make that decision. Check with your doctor and make sure that you're safe to do it.
Lots of the smartwatches have like apps and training things that help you build yourself up, and there's that famous app Couch to 5k, which is good to help you.
And I think that utilizes that
distance.
zone 2 stuff. I think it
Probably. Yeah. So on the Boxing Day, that's when we started, and we did that test run, and we went together, which was interesting. And then we went for a bike ride after, and I didn't complain
Bikes
at
are
all.
a perfect way. But obviously right now it's the winter time and it's getting icy and stuff, so you've got to be really careful, and if it's icy, don't run, don't ride. That's my advice.
So, we've done a couple together, and I've done a couple on my own. And yesterday I did my fastest time, which was fun.
But it's not about the speed.
I know, but I was impressed with my speed.
But that's what trips people up sometimes, because you'll go, I'm going to beat my time, and then you'll get an injury. So it's good, but it's not important. Mm-hmm. Just putting your shoes on and getting out there. Mm-hmm. Going for a walk is a way better way to lose loads of weight if you can do it. If you can go for a
We're lucky we have to go out because of Coco, our lovely Springer Spaniel. Yeah, so that's kind of the other thing that we wanted to talk about was just saying, there's lots of cool people in the community that we're enjoying following at the moment.
Yeah, we might do a little might have a little look,
share our screen a little bit,
do a bit of a shout out.
So if you go to this one, this is Good Luck Nick, and I found
I like the colours.
Yeah, I found Nick through the Big Fat Negative podcast. She was one of the people that they featured in March to kind of share her experience of how her treatment was cancelled because of COVID and the closure of all the clinics. And it's a great success story because obviously her treatment was cancelled and they had to, I think they'd done a freeze all the year before, and they were waiting to do a frozen embryo transfer. And through the pandemic, she's waited her time, and then the clinic opened, and she's now pregnant, which is really good. But she's also got a YouTube channel and shares loads of lifestyle videos and stuff. And I really enjoy seeing what Nick's got to say.
I always find, I don't know why, but I always find lifestyle a funny word.
Is that I
don't know why. No, it's the right word and it's what it is, but it's still funny though.
Just what they get up to and their home. So they're just an interesting, fun couple to follow. And then there's Kev from the Man Cave, who we've done a podcast with before. Kev is a really lovely guy who kind of shares his experience of infertility and trying to conceive and what he's been through, and he's all about mental health and sharing and raising the awareness of male infertility and just getting a bit of support for men going through that stuff, because obviously it's not as talked as openly for men. And they also recently won a cycle of IVF in America, which I think they will.
Hawaii?
No.
California,
I think. But
California's locked down.
Go check him out, because I think they'll have a lot of interesting things to say in the coming months when COVID kind of dies down and they can go over. And then the other thing I'm looking forward to this month is it's Kat and Alice. Kat and Alice are two really cool ladies in the infertility community, and they've both experienced IVF, and they are hosting on one of their events, which has to be online this year. I think they've called it Live Your Life, possibly, and that's on the 30th of January. And yeah, it just looks like it'll be a really fun event and a nice way to kind of connect with people who are going through similar experiences. And they've got lots of cool guest speakers who are kind of, I don't know, what's the word? People, ambassadors for
lifestyle.
Ambassadors for the community kind of thing. So yeah, I think that'll be a fun thing to do. So I'm looking forward to that on the 30th of January. And yeah,
take a breath. That was a long. We both do it.
That was a long.
We've got to get used to pausing.
Pause.
It's hard. It's really hard.
That's one of the tricks we do with Coco. Pause, and she puts her little paws up on your belly, because obviously we don't want her to jump, but it gets your attention. Pause.
I wanted to float a little idea out to our viewers. Oh, that's a horrible noise, isn't it? So obviously we're going to be doing more podcasts. We're going to be the rule is we're going to try and do one a week. That's our rule. And hopefully we'll have guests on, and sometimes we won't. But we could always talk about other things as well. So any suggestions or tips or ideas or anything, you can let us know. But one idea I wanted to do, which I'm going to probably try and set up for next week, is have a separate camera for the puppy cam. just to share a little bit with you guys, to show you our lifestyle.
She probably won't be doing anything. She'll just be snoring away, flashing her belly. But
she's so cute though. She's our dog. when you have a dog and people go, oh, it's a cute dog, you think, oh yeah, she's cute, and you'll get over it. Never get over it. She's just that cute.
I think people must feel that way about their kids though too.
Yeah. It's just bananas how cute she is.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we've got her to support us through this like shit time, because dogs and pets in general are just the best support.
I got a question that kind of popped into my head. If we had kids now, well, it's tough because you're a teacher, but if we had kids now, again, this is hypothetical because it's not really what's happening. It's just I'm trying to put myself in that situation. But if we had kids right now that were school age, I wouldn't want them to go into school because. Especially if we've been waiting for years and struggled to have kids via IVF, I'd be like, no.
If our circumstances were only different in that we had kids and that I wasn't a teacher, then you'd still be self-employed, so you'd be able to keep them at home. And the only reason I wouldn't be able to work from home is if I was a key worker.
I know. And
so we wouldn't send them.
I do empathise with people that would lose out on work, you know. But I think that's horrible. Like if you've got to look at, but at the same time, if the government are implementing this and saying that schools need to close, then there should be help.
There's furlough and schemes and grants. And
people fall through the cracks all the time, and I really feel sorry for those guys. It's been horrendous for me as a self-employed business. I can't even think about it at the moment because it's just. But So, like, I understand people are stressed out. People with kids are stressed out and they're worried about money and work and stuff like that. But, I mean, the answer isn't cramming 30 kids into a classroom, trying to be empathetic and understand everyone's point of view. But it's just, we need to hunker down. We just need to get through this together and stay positive. And I need to just get off, just not speak to people at the moment because most people I hear and
avoid the social media.
Yeah, but because most people are...
It's mainly Facebook, really, isn't it?
Being quite selfish, in my opinion. And it's just frustrating. Because I don't want you to die.
I don't want you to die.
Well, I wasn't potentially being forced to go into a classroom full of 30 kids, like, every day.
You could die from going to the supermarket.
Yeah, I know. But that's, that...
You perceive it as a real risk because
It is a real risk, because they are, like, the numbers are going through the roof because kids are transmitting this disease.
I think that way every time you go out on the bike at night for, like, 100 kilometres and I'm like, oh, I hope he doesn't get hit by a car. Yeah. I'm not comparing it, it's not the same thing, but But if
I didn't, I'd get fat and be more at risk of heart disease and, all the stuff that obesity brings. So
I'm glad you're looking after your body because it looks nice and it keeps you healthy. Lifestyle.
Hopefully my YouTube channel for the fitness stuff will be live soon. I've had to reorganize the whole thing because I was ready to launch in March and then,
because COVID.
Everything went nuts. And
that's like a phrase now, isn't it? Because COVID.
And social distance, of course.
Yeah.
That was on Radio 1 the other day.
SDOC.
I don't know what that means.
Social distance, of course.
Is that like...
I just said it.
But is that...
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
Trendsetter.
Trendsetter,
cool.
SDOC.
Yeah, let us know if you've got any ideas or stuff, or just basically connect with us because we're all hanging out pretty annoyed and stressed out. So
if you want to come on the show and tell us about your fertility journey, or you're a specialist and you'd like to share some information with our listeners, then please
We would love to speak to any, NHS people working in infertility at the moment and giving your thoughts on the situation, as it were, like we would love, and again, like we're super grateful for everyone that works in the NHS as well, which is without going off on another tangent, which is why it's really frustrating when you see people not doing the things that we're meant to be doing because you're just making them work harder and putting them at risk for longer. So right, we'll get going and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.